growth. It was this systematic extraction of wealth, really. It created this profound sense of being exploited like a colony, not an equal partner, a deep, deep injustice.
Okay, so cultural suppression, economic exploitation, and then comes 1970. Pakistan holds its first ever general elections. This feels like a turning point. What happened?
It really should have been. The 1970 elections, they were a huge moment. The Awami League, which was the main party pushing for Bengali rights and autonomy, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman,
Yeah.
they won an absolutely massive victory, a landslide. They took 160 out of 162 seats allocated to East Pakistan.
160 out of 162.
Yeah, enough seats for a clear majority in the entire national parliament. So, democratically, the path was clear. They had the mandate to govern.
But that's not what happened, is it? Power was refused. This seems like the ultimate breaking point, the betrayal.
It was. Instead of, respecting the democratic will, the West Pakistani leadership, the military junta, the political establishment, they just refused. Our sources describe their reaction as arrogant and ultimately incredibly brutal, refusing to hand over power after a free and fair election. That was it.
The final straw.
The final straw, the ultimate betrayal. It sent a clear message. Your votes don't count, your voices don't matter. Democracy was denied.
And this denial, this political betrayal, it leads directly to violence, doesn't it? Tell us about the night of March 25th, 1971.
Yeah, that night, the Pakistani military launched something called Operation Searchlight in Dhaka, the capital. This wasn't spontaneous. It was a planned, systematic, brutal crackdown, targeting students, intellectuals, political activists, ordinary civilians, anyone associated with the Bengali nationalist sentiment.
It's a massacre.
A massacre. Thousands were killed that night and in the days that followed. As one source puts it, that night changed everything. It moved beyond politics. It was now about survival.
That level of violence is just hard to fathom. How did people even respond? How do you resist that?
Well, in the immediate aftermath, literally the next morning, March 26th, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman declared Bangladesh's independence. It was a direct response. And the people, having endured decades of being ignored, exploited, culturally sidelined, and now facing this horrific violence, they just reached their limit.
They had nothing left to lose.
Exactly. They picked up, as the sources say, whatever they could, guns, sticks, courage, and fought back. It wasn't a planned military campaign initially. It was this spontaneous, desperate uprising for their very existence.
So Operation Searchlight was the spark, the final horrific spark that ignited the Bangladesh Liberation War, a war for justice, identity, freedom itself. So thinking about all this, what's the takeaway for you listening? This deep dive really shows how these huge conflicts, they often have these clear, traceable roots. It starts with maybe the lines drawn on a map during partition, then grows with cultural attacks, economic unfairness, and finally just the flat-out denial of basic democratic rights. It all compounds.
Indeed. And this independence movement, one of the major ones of the 20th century, it's such a powerful example, isn't it? It shows how absolute fundamental things, your language, your identity, your right to choose your own future, when those are denied, people will eventually fight back. It's a stark reminder, really, of the consequences, often violent, when those fundamental rights are trampled on.
Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. We hope this look back gives you maybe a clearer sense of how decades of oppression can build up to this undeniable demand for freedom. Something to think about, perhaps. What are those core elements of who we are, our identity, our right to be heard, that are so non-negotiable they can ignite the fiercest struggles when threatened? Until next time, stay curious, keep digging deeper.